Hello, my friends. Welcome to Gaia's Temple. We begin, as we will do from here on out, by acknowledging that we are on the unceded ancestral lands of the native people of this area, and we honor with respect the Duwamish tribe and their lands. So I am so excited for this service today and so happy that we have Carol Lynn Pearson with us to bless our service. And I'm going to read an introduction because in case you don't already know who she is, got to hear all of this. Carol Lynn Pearson, an author, speaker, and performer whose work transcends religious and cultural boundaries, is an activist for women's issues dedicated to transforming patriarchy into partnership. Her memoir, Goodbye, I Love You, tells the story of her marriage to a homosexual man, their divorce, their ongoing friendship, and her caring for him as he died of AIDS. In the 1990s, she performed her award-winning one-woman play, Mother Wove the Morning, over 300 times, in which she plays 16 women throughout history in search of the female face of God. Most recently, she published what she believes to be one of the most important works of her career, Finding Mother God, Poems to Heal the World, and we will hear her read 3 poems from that magnificent book today. So you have come to the right place. I'm Reverend Judith Latzer, and I'm so honored that you've chosen to spend an hour or so of your time here with me and the virtual community of Gaia's Temple. So we're going to switch over to Maggie L. Wilson, our board on the board of directors, who's got some thrilling announcements for us. Take it away, Maggie.
Hello, everybody. Glad to see you all here. Yes, I have a couple of upcoming events that you will want to participate in. And the first is that as part of our Kitchen Witchery series, Noemi Chaparro will be teaching a cordial making class. And there's nothing quite like opening and enjoying a bottle of something delicious that you have made and preserved. So she's going to show us the ancient art of cordial making, which is a beautiful way to capture the flavors of fruit and spices that are in season for future imbibing. And this is going to take place over Zoom. She will demonstrate how to make 2 different delicious cordials so that you can learn to make them on your own. And all you'll need is paper and pen to take notes. So information about this is on our calendar on our website. You need to register by noon on August 14th, and then we will send a Zoom link. And the cost for that, oh, I did not say the date or time, it's August 14, 2021. From 2 to 4 p.m. over Zoom, and it will be $20 for that class. You don't want to miss it. Then after that, on August 21st, also from 2 to 4, I will be leading another intentional creativity workshop. And in this one, we will be making soulful story affirmation cards. So you're going to use paper and pens or paints, whatever you have, and we will be designing cards to counteract the negative stories about yourself that we tend to tell ourselves. And this will, as our previous intentional creativity workshops, will begin with a red thread circle to connect us together as community, and then we will make these soulful story affirmation cards. That's August 21st from 2 to 4 on Zoom. And again, you can register at our site and find the information on our calendar. Then more recent, a sooner opportunity for you is that we are looking for ritualists for our next Sabbath celebration of Lunasad, which is when the wheel turns toward autumn and the time of the first harvest. So we're going to be taking stock of the coming seasons, acknowledging the sacrifices life asks of us, and celebrating our bounty. So if you're interested at all in being a ritualist, please contact Karina Frenzel or Judith Laxer. We are going to be meeting on the 14th of this month at 7 p.m. for a planning session. And then the ritual itself is on the 31st. And all of our events right now are over Zoom. And if you can't be a ritualist, please do come for the Sabbath ritual itself. They're always wonderful. And then lastly, I would ask that you, if you have not already done so, please subscribe to our YouTube channel and also to our newsletter so that you can stay in the loop on our temple offerings. Thank you and goodbye.
Thank you, Maggie. Thanks for all those very exciting announcements. So let's do a little singing, shall we, just to kind of get the energy going. I'll ask you if you haven't already to mute yourself because of that little delay that goes on over Zoom. And truth is, I don't remember where I learned this chant. I just know that I've known it for a very, very long time. The words are very simple. They go, come earth and air, come fire and water, and we sing that 3 times. And the last line says, bring us the power to heal. So I'll just start singing, and when you catch on, join in. And it goes like this. Come earth and air, come fire and water. Come earth and air, come fire and water. Come earth and air, come fire and water. Bring us the power to heal. Come earth and air, come fire and water. Come earth and air, come fire and water. Come earth and air, come fire and water. Bring us the power to heal. Come earth and air, come fire and water. Come earth and air, come fire and water. Come earth and air, come fire and water. Bring us the power to heal. One more. Come earth and air, come fire and water. Come earth and air, come fire and water. Come earth and air, come fire and water. Bring us the power to heal. Lovely, you sound fabulous. So let's move on now and create our sacred space. If you would, take a moment, close your eyes, go within, get as comfortable as you can wherever it is that you are in time and space. And let's take a nice deep breath together. Deep cleansing breath. And while you're doing that deep breathing, ask all the pieces and parts of you to come home to you now. So any part of you that is projected into your future or stuck in your past or distracted by anything that happened prior to this moment now, and gently ask all the pieces and parts of you to come home so that you can be here now. And breathe into that presence. And on your next inhale, draw in that presence. And on the next exhale, begin to ground yourself to Mother Earth by imagining a line of energy that extends from the base of your spine, traveling downward, down toward the earth, down through the chair or the seat that you are in, down through the foundation of the building that you're in, or if you're outside, straight down into our beautiful planet. And feel how she opens to receive your taproot as you send it down as deep as it needs to go, burrowing down through the soil, past the stones and the bones and the worms and the critters, deep into the earth, becoming very deeply rooted, very lovingly connected to our Great Mother. And when your taproot gets as deep as it needs to go, send out smaller little branches reaching out, taking hold. Breathe life into those roots. Imagine that they become porous now and start to drink the energy of Mother Earth up into them. Knowing that what we're drawing in from the earth is nourishment, sustenance, strength, beauty, diversity, and most importantly, our unconditional love. That's what we're drawing up from the earth. And draw it all the way up to the main taproot. Keep drawing it up, up, up. Let it transfer over into your spine and keep drawing her all the way up till she gets to your heart. And when she arrives there, let her rest. Take a deep breath to make more room for Mother Earth in your heart. And leaving the earth there in your heart, look to the heavens and find the moon. She is new. She was new yesterday or Friday, so she's still in her new phase. Today she's in Leo, warm and generous and dramatic and playful. And draw that beautiful silver light of the moon down onto you and draw it into you. And imagine that she pours her wisdom down through your head, through your neck. She is making her way into your heart. And when she arrives there once more, let her rest and breathe deeply to make more room. Now the earth and the moon reside there in your heart, and leaving them there, begin to draw down the sun. Look to the heavens and find the golden light of the sun. He is in Cancer, and draw that nurturing, loving, beautiful radiance of the sun and draw it down onto you, into you. Draw that golden light down to your heart as well. And when he arrives, once more, breathe deeply to make more room. Good. Now, in a moment, I'm going to have us take a nice deep collective breath together. And when we exhale, imagine that you can use your exhalation to push these three cosmic energies of Earth, Sun, and Moon straight forward outside of your heart, imagining it swirling all around you. And so let's do that first. Deep breath. And out it goes. In a moment, I'll ask us to take another breath. And this time when we exhale, imagine that we can use our exhalation to push these energies out like ripples on a pond, out further and further and further until it encompasses everyone at this service. And even in the future, those who watch it on YouTube will go through time and space using our breath, our imagination, and our will to send these energies out, encompassing all of us in safe and sacred space. Deep breath. And out it goes. In this way, we say we have stepped between the worlds. What is between the worlds is not affected by the worlds, but can heal and transform. And so we say our circle is cast in perfect love and perfect trust. Blessed.
Spirits of the earth, carry me. Spirits of the earth, carry me home. Spirits of the earth, carry me home to my heart. Spirits of the air, carry me. Spirits of the air, carry me home. Spirits of the air, carry me home to my heart. Spirits of the water, carry me. Spirits of the water, carry me home. Spirits of the water, carry me home to my heart. Spirits of the fire, carry me. Spirits of the fire, carry me home. Spirits of the fire, carry me home to my heart. Spirits of the center, carry me. Spirits of the center, carry me home. Spirits of the center, carry me home to my heart. I forgot the little chime. Ding.
Great Goddess of all life, be with us. Abundant Mother of unconditional love, be with us. Beautiful Gaia, our precious earth, be with us. Today we recognize the need for healing, be with us. And we choose to turn toward that feeling, be with us. To consider what is wounded within us and heal those wounds, be with us. To remember what it is to be whole, be with us. To remember our worth, be with us. To be healing forces in the world, be with us. Your love and your comfort shows the way, be with us. We gather on this fine day to be in your presence, be with us. Blessed be.
Blessed be. Thank you both so much. So, my friends, I've been thinking a lot about healing lately for several reasons. First, the state of our world, which could be services from now until the end of the year, and I barely scratched the surface of all the healing that needs to happen in our world. And also thinking particularly about climate change. And here in Seattle, we had an incredible heat wave, and like over 100 degrees in some places, up to 110 degrees, which is unprecedented. This is the tip of the iceberg, and it portends what is coming. So we need some healing because of that. We're coming out of, or at least we are further out of this pandemic, or closer to the end of it than we are to the beginning of it. And there is and will be an aftermath to tend to that needs healing. And also, I have become acutely aware of late of how ancestral trauma comes down the pike from generation to generation. And until and unless we heal it, it's just going to continue. Now, when we talk about healing, I want to start by saying that we can heal without necessarily being cured. I know of people who were healed when they died of a disease because they were seen, tended to, loved, and cared for, because they turned toward and accepted their reality of their corporeal experience in their bodies, and they found peace. It helped them transcend that experience with a spiritual presence so complete and so strong that they became whole again, their psyche and spirit and heart fully integrated and at peace. And as always, 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 that love includes self-love. So that's a lot of what I want to talk about here today. Healing is a huge subject, and there are many different kinds of healing. As we know, there's the physical healing, when our bodies become injured or lose vitality, when they wear down as we age, and when we experience dis-ease. There is emotional healing, when our hearts get injured or break. There is psychological healing, when our psyches become injured or fractured, or also experiences dis-ease. And there is spiritual healing that is needed. And spiritual wounding happens when our souls become wounded and they need to restore. Now, I don't think of any one of these as separate from any other, because healing that is required, whether it's physical, emotional, psychological, or spiritual, impacts the whole of who we are. And what we're trying to do when we heal is to come back to a place of wholeness. So any healing we do in any one of these areas of our being impacts all of our being. But because we are here in this temple today, and because this service is spiritual, I want to focus primarily on our spiritual healing. So, of course, this starts with the premise that our souls are eternal. And if we don't heal them, then we are going to carry those wounds forward into time and into the next incarnation. And wouldn't it be better to carry those souls' wounds as lessons, things that we have learned, into moving forward, instead of not healing those things on a soul level and then just having to come back and do them all again, to feel and experience that wounding all over again? This time, this life, our level of our consciousness now, with all the resources we have at our disposal, this is the time to do that healing. It takes care of so much for the future. Wounding results in trauma, and trauma also is a huge subject, and there is much to say about trauma. And it happens in many ways. Trauma can happen in many different ways. Trauma is defined as a deeply distressing or disturbing experience. And we know that we are not always conscious of our trauma. Sometimes something traumatic happens and we just have to get up in the morning and go back to work, and we just keep going, or we put it aside because we can't handle it and we just move forward. So we're not always conscious that we are traumatized. And also we know, or if we don't, I'm here to tell you that trauma stays until we heal it, until we consciously turn toward to heal it. Our souls become wounded when we are not valued for the truth of who we are, when we have to lie or pretend in order to fit in or belong, when we are forced to worship in ways that don't resonate, inspire, or uplift us, when we can't relate to anything in our religious upbringing or perhaps the religion of our family of origin, or when spiritual doctrine tells us that there's something wrong with us for not conforming to whatever its limited idea of what we're supposed to be is, especially when that happens when we are young and we are impressionable and we come to take that on as belief that is true. And that's what I mean by sometimes we don't even know we're traumatized, because we just believe that's true and we wonder what's wrong with us, that we can't match it and we can't fit and we don't belong. So perhaps you weren't, but many of us, most of us, I think, were raised in the Judeo-Christian Islamic religions, like one of the big three, And one thing that they all have in common, of course, is the lack of the divine feminine. Hence, Gaia's temple. Our vision is to create balance in the world through the worship of the divine feminine. As Carol Lynn put it so beautifully, to shift patriarchy to partnership, to bring the goddess back to her rightful place in our worship. Now, our desire to restore the divine feminine is not just for equality, although that is reason enough, but because of the wounds that need healing due to the lack of her in our spiritual lives, or in our spiritual lives up until this very moment when we're all gathered here in Gaia's temple. So, as I said, wholeness is what creates healing, and we are not whole without her. Now, our spirituality permeates everything as it should, our beliefs, our thoughts, and therefore the culture that we create. And over time, we have gotten so accustomed to our spiritual sensibilities, uplifting and upholding the masculine only, so strong is that patriarchy. So sadly, that normalizes, as Carolyn has written in her poem, Our Mother in the Movies. Take it away, Carolyn.
Thank you so very much, Judith. I am so honored to be with all of you. Our Mother in the Movies. Surely you must have noticed in Disney movies, along with the catchy songs, all the dead mothers. Mother of Ariel killed by pirates. Mother of Bambi shot by a hunter. Mother of Belle died from plague. Mother of Nemo eaten by barracuda. Mother of Tarzan killed by leopard. Mother of Quasimodo killed protecting her son. Mother of Cinderella dead. Mother of Pocahontas dead. Mother of Snow White dead. Suspicious, don't you think? Such a stunningly high rate of maternal mortality in one subdivision? It cries out for an investigation, which is why I did one, and here are my findings. We are the guilty party. You and I and our ancestors, way back before a camera was even a flash in someone's dream. The storyteller of the tribe is a medicine man to our psyches and knows our substrata terrors and our needs and draws them into words. And sometimes, if we are lucky, brings remedies, as in this case, the tale of the missing mother and the miserable patriarchal family. Here we are in the dark, popcorn in hand, gathered before the large and flickering fire we call a screen, ready for a brilliant show and tell. Actually, 2 stories to tell today. The better to demonstrate, my dear, this pandemic malady of ours on a split screen, which you can do because this is the movies, and which I can do because this is the poem. Shh. Act 1, The Motherless House. Screen 1, Captain von Trapp, military man of Austria, keeps order with whistle. Mother dead, 7 children, good little soldiers, sad, sad, sad. Screen 2, Mr. Banks, agent of Fidelity Fiduciary, lord of his castle. Mother out marching for votes for women. 2 children, Jane and Michael, sad, sad, sad. What can help but heaven? And heaven opens. Down from the hills comes the aproned woman of song with the holy name of Maria, sent by God and the mother abbess to set the family right. And simultaneously, down from the London sky by umbrella comes the woman of magic with the holy name of Mary, sent by God and the east wind to set the family right. I know. For a minute there, I was believing that Julie Andrews was actually our Heavenly Mother. But no, just one of her beautiful daughters who got 2 fabulous roles. Act 2. A woman turns things upside down. The Von Trapp children climb trees, verily the tree of life and warmth and music returned to the home, and a smile to the lips of the captain. How do you solve a problem like the goddess? You marry her in a grand cathedral blessed by nuns and bring heat to the family, mortal and divine. And she fortifies the captain in his courage to say no to the fatherland, no to the motherless house of the ultra-patriarchal brown shirt Nazis. And simultaneously, Poppins unleashes her magic. A lullaby, a spoonful of sugar, and a trip to make-believe where we levitate and love to laugh and step in time with chimney sweeps and see that Mary is indeed practically perfect every day and in every way. And we want to feed the birds with our tuppence, rather than invest in corporations, amalgamations of the highly patriarchal Fidelity Fiduciary Bank. Act 3. The healed family rises. And now in this dark theater, we celebrate as we see our way, feel our way, with the family Von Trapp stumbling and rising, climbing the high green mountain, up, ever closer to heaven. And look, the Banks family, flying the kite repaired by father's own hands, and trailing mother's votes for women banner, useless now except as a tape to stabilize the kite as it rises up into the blue and white sky. And our communal psyche, stirred by the storyteller of the tribe, whispers to the full theater, yes, yes, something holy just happened here. Wholeness and holiness happened here.
Thank you, Carolyn. Thank you so much. Oh, restoring the goddess is a holy thing. In the description of this service today, I said, and I quote, "Healing is not only necessary for living well, it's a way to understand ourselves, a way to evolve, a pathway to love." When we turn toward to tend and heal our wounds, we come to better understand who we are. When we understand like how we got wounded and the nature of that wound so that we can tend and heal it, we come to understand more about ourselves. We learn more about ourselves. For example, some people can watch violence and find it entertaining. It makes me physically ill. It traumatizes me. Now, EMDR therapist Dana Coretta Stein tells us that trauma is anything that exceeds our nervous system's ability to cope. And everybody's nervous system is different, and everybody's ability to cope is different. When I matured, I realized that I didn't have to endure watching violence, and so I stopped. But when I was a kid, I had no control over what was on the television or what movies or whatever it was that I was taking in, because as children, we have no power. And it would make me physically ill. It would make me want to vacate the contents of my stomach, and my heart would beat uncomfortably, and it just was not a good situation. But as I got older and realized I didn't have to endure this, it's not just that I stopped doing it because then I would feel better, but it helped me to understand that I am a highly sensitive person. Now, sensitivity gets a big rap in a patriarchal world because the patriarchy tells us that sensitivity is weakness, when in fact, sensitivity is a superpower, but it does require some care. So rather than dismissing highly sensitive people, which is very, very common, it's good to understand if you're one of them so that you can take really good care of yourself and make sure you set healthy boundaries and don't allow the things that will wound and traumatize you into your realm. I came to know myself as a highly sensitive person, and in doing so, I came to not care so much what anybody thought about my high sensitivity. I just make sure to take care of myself because I have every much right to be here as anyone else. We learn about ourselves through our wounds. It's worth exploring how we have been wounded and how we have been traumatized, particularly because sometimes we can't really put our finger on it. Why does this upset me so much? I can look back in my whole life and there was nothing to cause this problem that I am grappling with. And that is, as I've mentioned in Gaia's Temple many times now, ancestral trauma that just kind of comes down the pike. Epigenetics now, the science of that is proving that we carry the memories of the last couple of generations before us. So we might not know exactly what it was that they experienced, but we can still be traumatized by those traumas that they experienced. So it's really good to turn toward it and understand what is the nature of the wounding, where did it come from, and how can I heal it? We evolve through experiencing a healing path. The dictionary tells us evolve means to change, grow, progress, advance, develop, and go forward. When we come to a place of acceptance of what is, there is a wound here. I don't like to think about it. I wish it weren't here, but it is. There is a wound here. And when we turn toward it and we stop pretending, when we come out of denial, we change the course of our lives. Healing is a way to evolve. Healing is not selfish. It's self-care. And there is a big diff between the two. We evolve through experiencing healing on the path. It's a way for us to evolve and grow and advance. We tend to think there's something wrong here if we're wounded and we get sick. Of course, there is something wrong if we get sick. But we have a judgment about it instead of saying, oh, it needs tending. I'm going to turn toward it and tend it. Healing is a pathway to love. And this is what I meant at the beginning by saying that we can be healed without necessarily being cured. Pathway to love always, the pathway to healing always includes love. Pathway to love always includes healing, I guess. We demonstrate self-love when we take the healing path, when we do what is the difficult work to heal. We have to love ourselves enough to do that difficult work. Nobody wants to take time out of their lives where they would rather just go along like nothing is wrong and tend to something that is wrong. It's not fun. It's not pleasant. We usually don't like to do it. But we have to go back to the wound to heal it. We have to go to the wound to heal the wound. And that is often very painful, right? Because the wound is the place that was wounded. And ouch, that's where it hurts. When we go back to that ouch, we are going back to that pain. But it is so different to go back, to choose to go back to the wounded place, to heal it, than it is when we are first injured in the first place, which is something we didn't choose or something we didn't expect. It's different when we decide, I'm going there to do this healing. That is a place of power, and it's a place of love. I love myself enough to go back to a painful place so that I can heal and move forward more whole and be whole and healed in the world. Not taking the path of healing when it is needed is a manifestation of poor self-esteem. Now, we might tell ourselves, our brain will tell us, no, it's not that I don't, esteem myself. It's that I just don't want to feel that pain again. But really, the message that we're giving ourselves is that we're not worth going through some difficulty to get to the other side and be whole and healed. So if healing is needed and you are choosing not to do it, healing is needed and any of us choose not to do it, it is a manifestation of poor self-esteem. We're not honoring ourselves enough. And that comes from spiritual wounding that tells us we're not worthy. So, if you would, take a moment now, close your eyes and go within. It'll lead us on a little meditation. Don't mind. And reestablish your connection to your grounding cord that we put down at the beginning of the service when we were creating sacred space. And if you entered into this meeting after we did that, go ahead and ground yourself now so that you can be fully present in this moment and breathe into that presence. Now bring your attention to your third eye in the center of your forehead. Imagine that you have an actual eye there, just like your other two. And then go ahead and open it up and look out through it into your imagination and find yourself in the safest place that you know. Place where you feel the most safe anywhere in the world. At home or out in nature, in the arms of a beloved, tucked into your bed, wherever you feel completely safe. Find yourself there now. Now, in that place, allow yourself to scan your soul. And in doing so, find the deepest wound that your soul is carrying. Don't judge the severity of the wound. Don't dismiss its severity. Acknowledge it. It might not have wounded someone else, but it did wound you. This is not about someone else. This is about you. This is your healing path. And you are safe to turn toward it now. So there it is, that deep soul wound. Now consider what might go into healing this wound. Being with it, soothing it, understanding what happened, or maybe why it happened, finding forgiveness of them, of you, of it, accepting your humanity and the humanity inherently flawed and all involved that caused this wound. Perhaps you might come to realize what it meant or that it was meant to happen, even though sometimes we wonder why was that meant to happen. But it was meant to happen simply because it did. So take a moment now. Think of what you might do, how you might either change or shift your perspective, how you might apply love, the unconditional love of the mother to this injury in your soul. Ask yourself now, what does your soul wound need? And now you become aware that although it's not enjoyable to have brought this all into your awareness, it's also not as terrible as you thought it might have been. In fact, in this way, it's almost a bit of a relief. Now, I'm going to ask you to make a promise to yourself, a spiritual promise to your soul. to do something to heal this wound, to take one of the actions you just thought of, to provide one of the things that you just determined is needed. And in your mind and in your heart, say to yourself, "Dear my precious soul, I promise that to bring your healing, I will," and then finish that sentence. "Dear my precious soul, I promise that to bring your healing, I will." And take a nice deep breath once more. Gently open your eyes and come back here to this moment. So we have established that we are healthy when we are whole, and healing means returning to wholeness. We have established that that love is the pathway to healing. We have established that sometimes healing is painful and we will need courage and help and comfort. So when we find ourselves on that path of healing, we can look to the Mother, the Great Mother, and ask us to help us in our healing. And here's Pam Gerke to sing to us.
Mother, help me. Mother, heal me. Please release me from all things worldly that do not serve me. Mother, love me. Mother, help me. Mother, heal me. Please release me from all things worldly that do not serve me. Mother, love me. Within these stones, I feel the power. I am reborn as I break these chains that bind. And now I'm floating, light as a feather, as I break these chains that bind. I'm gonna 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 break these chains that bind. Oh, blessed Mother, you empower me. You have shown me just how to set my soul free. And now I'm soaring, lost in the clear blue sky, as I break these chains that bind. I'm gonna 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 break these chains that bind. Now I have broken these chains that bind. I have broken these chains that bind. I have broken these chains that bind. Yes, I did break these chains that bind. Mother, help me. Mother, heal me. Please release me from all things worldly that do not serve me. Mother, love me. Mother, help me. Mother, heal me. Please release me from all things worldly that do not serve me. Mother, love me.
Thank you, Pam. That was Kellyanna's song from her album, and the song is called Stonehenge. She wrote that song inside the stones. Thank you, Pam. That was beautiful. Mother love shows us self love. There is no scarcity to her love. There is no end to the healing that her love brings. There is no limit to her divine power. It's not pie, so that if you take a slice, someone else has to do it. You don't have to worry that if you get some healing, someone else doesn't. It's not pie, so you don't have to worry about anyone else. You can have your slice. It's not selfish to partake of the love and healing from the goddess, because her love and healing are not only unconditional, there is no end to that love. It is limitless. So Carolyn has another poem for us called The Omni Factor.
Needing your presence tonight, Mother, I invite you. Then I think of the woman on the other side of the planet whose child has ribs like a washboard and eyes dark and empty and huge. And I say, no, she needs you more than I do. But then I remember the happy mystery. You are the woman of the omnis, omnipresent and available to all who say, please come. Of your several omnis, this one is my personal favorite, top of the list of godly powers. Science may explain someday, as the search continues, for the arrow of time, qubit entanglement, quantum gravity and such, explain just how the fine, fine matter of God can sift swifter than light and show up to fill the smallest request, so that he is present here and she is present now, omni and always. When child became children for me, I was split and exhausted, having to choose between here and there. You have no here and there, and never have to prioritize your billions, Mother. That's the awesomeness of Godness. So I will take my full portion now, not part, but the whole of your holy presence as we sit together by the fire in my specific home and admire the melody of rain on window and watch my secrets dance between us, my sweetness, my silliness. You observe me with unveiled adoration, as if this moment and this place is the only thing imaginable. And I accept your generous care, knowing that my omnipresent mother is also on the other side of the planet in a little hut, holding another daughter through the unavoidable grief of this mortal world.
Thank you so much, Carolyn. Such beautiful, beautiful messages, beautiful poetry. Thank you. So I called this service the freedom to heal, and I want to wrap it up with this. Spiritual healing is available all the time. We are always free to do it because it's a choice that we make for ourselves. You have been influenced by spiritual or religious teachings that have you believing that you are unworthy, bad, wrong, evil, less than, don't belong. Know that you can change those beliefs. Maybe not in the next 10 seconds, maybe not even by tomorrow morning, but you can change those beliefs, and you are free to do so. Heightened awareness of all that holds us back and holds our healing back is what's needed in order to throw it off, to throw off what holds that healing back. Heightened awareness. To choose a different perspective to adopt and foster, and a different perspective about our worth. To remember our worth. You know, it's said that we spend less than a third of our lives in childhood and the rest of our lives healing from it, which is pretty sad in a funny kind of a way. But the good news is that we are free to do it. We are free to do that. And whatever the impressions made on us when we were younger and before we had the level of consciousness that we do now as aware spiritual adults, whatever happened then can be shifted now. And that is healing work that is worth doing. The good news is we are free to do that work, and it's a blessing to do. So, my friends, may we remember our freedom to heal and choose to exercise that freedom. May we turn toward and do the healing we need with courage and awareness and tenderness. And by doing so, may we all restore the world, for we are not separate from her. And as we heal, so we heal the earth. May ours be a path of love and wholeness, limitless in blessings, for the highest good of all. Blessed be. So, my friends, this is where we open up our floor for our community prayers. If you have a prayer that you would like to offer, then there's a little icon in the reactions where you can raise your hand, and then Maury can call on you, and we can put your up there for you to offer that prayer. And when you're finished with your prayer, say blessed be, so we know, and we'll move on to someone else. But before we begin that, I'd like to begin our prayers today, our community prayers, with a moment of silence in memorial for a dear friend of mine, and many of you might know her also, Birgith Kayali, passed away last month. And Birgith was a force of nature, and she was highly involved in the Women of Wisdom Conference for many, many years, like probably 29 of the 30 years that it, almost 30 years that it's been going. And she was a beautiful woman who was a feisty woman, socially conscious, activist, worked for justice. And anyway, she passed away last month. So let's take a moment to honor the life and the love and the beautiful legacy left after the passing of our dear friend. Rest in peace, Burgess. Blessed be.
Tema.
Got a couple of prayers. I'd like to put prayer for peace and comfort for a neighbor of mine, Mel, and a pillar of the community who also died about a week and a half ago. Sudden. No one was expecting it, and it's been a thing. And also a prayer for the victims of the Surfside condo collapse. There's going to be hell to pay for that one, but hope they are all able to get the justice they deserve and rest in peace. And finally, a prayer for all of us going through the process of looking at our own wounds and the wounds of our ancestors and seeking to bring them into the light and accept them and heal them. May we know when we need help to do that, and when to dip our toes in and then step out to give ourselves comfort and take all this time that we need to heal the wounds as fully as we can and with all the support that we can muster in the process for ourselves, for our families, for our communities. Blessed be.
Blessed be.
Pam.
Prayers for my sister Marcy, that she finds some ease and comfortableness in her body, her physical ailments, and prayers for my former sister-in-law Liz, that she moved through her breast cancer in a way that brings her some comfort, some joy, some peace, some ease for Liz. Blessed be.
Blessed be.
Monsieur Neve.
I'd like to offer a prayer of gratitude for the life of my beloved ex-wife, who died about 2 weeks ago, unexpectedly. And she was loved by so many and influenced so many, and just the world's better off for having had her in it. Blessed be.
Blessed be.
Blessed be. Anyone else have a prayer that they'd like to offer verbally? You can use the chat if you'd like so that it's more private.
Stina. Thank you. I'd like to offer a prayer of love and support to my friend Andrea. She is preparing for a really difficult meeting at work tomorrow. She carries a big emotional load that many of her coworkers don't fully appreciate in the support that she gives to her students. So I'm sending her love and prayers tomorrow and would ask for the prayers of this community as well. Also asking for prayers of peace and healing to my father, Louis. He's been in the hospital for over a week, and it seems to be a lot of different issues going on, but none of them really explain why he's doing so badly. I have a lot of difficulty with my dad, so this is hard for me as well. So I would ask for prayers of support and peace for both of us, healing for my father. I just want him to be at peace. And thank you as always for this community. Blessed be.
Doris.
I would like to ask for prayers of love for my father who transitioned at the end of May. And it wasn't, I mean, it was sudden, but not surprising. But I think he needs a lot of like love and support as he transitions and hopefully goes completely to the other side. Blessed be.
Blessed be.
I see William Shaw.
I'd like to offer prayer of gratitude for this Gaia's Temple, sacred community. And with the love, care, and concern that are expressed here can radiate outward. And we can carry this into the world and help others to see and feel, to help them to feel past their callousness, calluses that have been built for safety, but have cut them off, that we may get through and offer that love. Blessed be.
Blessed be. Kitty love.
I don't see any other hands.
May all our prayers, spoken and unspoken, be heard and answered. Blessed be. So if we were meeting in person, this is where we would pass the love offering baskets and where, but of course we can't do that, but we will ask for your virtual support and your actual support in the form of making a donation, a financial donation to Gaia's Temple so that we can keep this ministry going. So on our website, gaiastemple.org, there is a donate button and you can press that and we ask that you give generously. Also, as a nonprofit organization, we choose other nonprofits to tithe 10% of the monies that we receive on the day of the service. So if you donate money today, 10% will go to this nonprofit today, and that is called Mary's Place, which provides safe, inclusive shelter and services that support women, children, and families on their journey out of homelessness. And homelessness is a just awful, terrible problem that is just growing in leaps and bounds, particularly here in Seattle. It is horrible what is happening here. And so just know that 10% of whatever it is that you donate to Gaia's Temple today will go to Mary's Place. And when we pass the love offering baskets in person, we always sing this beautiful song. So Mari, if you'll put up our the lyrics, and we'll sing it 3 times through. Thank you, Mother Earth, for your gifts of love today. Thank you, Mother Earth. We are following your way. Thank you, Mother Earth, for your gifts of love today. Thank you, Mother Earth. We are following your way. One more. Thank you, Mother Earth, for your gifts of love today. Thank you, Mother Earth. We are following your way. Thank you so much for your generosity, everyone. So speaking of thanks, we'd like to thank Maori Budlong as our tech goddess and our hostess here today. Thank you so much. Stina Brown for singing in, and she'll be releasing the directions for us and the elements. Tema Gotchberg for reading the invocation. Pamela Gerke for singing Kellyanna's beautiful song. And especially to our visiting poet and the magnificence that you offered at our service today. Thank you so much, Carolyn Pearson. Thank you. It was just so lovely to reach out to you and have you respond so graciously and to be willing to come here and donate your time and your beautiful work to our worship service. It means so much. Thank you. So we hope that you will stay for a little fellowship after the service. Carolyn has agreed to stay with us so we can hear all about whatever it is that she wants to share with us. We can ask her all kinds of questions, and do hope you'll stay for fellowship once the service is over. We hope that you join us for our next service on August 8th, and that you do come to our Lunasa ritual on July 31st. We do need the ritualists, so please contact me or Karina Frenzel and let us know that you can be at that meeting next Wednesday night, and we can count on you. Thank you so much for that. And you know, at the end of every service, before we release the sacred space, I always have a final thought. But this month, I'd like to have Carolyn read one more of her beautiful poems for us. And this one is called The Case of the Disappearance of God the Mother.
Such an awesome mystery we get to solve here. My friend Monica, so beautiful, so smart, so hungry for her mother, was viscerally fearful that her own eternal journey would leave her disappeared, just like her mother. And I have seen tears in her eyes. If the disappearance of the mother happened in my house or the house of my friend, I would call the police. I would shout that something criminal had happened. But the disappearance of the mother of us all from the house in heaven seems to have occurred without much excitement, much notice even, and so very, very long ago. It looked to be a cold case indeed. And when we finally petitioned the authorities, the officers at the station were very reluctant to stir things up. However, Monica and I, both smart and hungry women, knew there was something fishy going on, and we went over their heads. And we learned some things from documents hidden in dark places, and we also spoke to some higher ups, the very highest ups. And the first thing we must tell you is this: she was never gone. That half of God can disappear is beyond absurd, as is the notion of separation in the house of God, for God is love and God is indivisible. And the second thing we must tell you is this: we found her. We called out and she answered. She was at home and receiving. Her disappearance was a sham, a story developed by men throughout history, men who coveted, because you know, if God is male, the male is God. She never left her place in heaven or her place on earth. Only her name was stolen. She defies dimensions and will be where she will be. And the truth that the kingdom of God is within is the clue that Monica and I followed as we searched, and it was there that she answered. She is within, and she fills us heart and mind. She fills the galaxies, the stars, and the spaces, as does he. She fills the chapels and temples, as does he, and the mosques, and the synagogues, and the huts, and the homes. She adores the sound of the organ, and the choir, and the bells, and the chanting, and the humming, and the clapping, and the praying. She is present, but not accounted for. And the only crime committed was not a crime against her, but a crime against humanity, her family, a crime committed by humanity, her family. Her name was stolen. But what's in a name? We could eat bread if it had no name, but it would be harder to ask for. And how lovely it is to know that my daily bread bears her aroma, and to know that all my blessings flow through her hands as well as his. Let us welcome her with words. She has missed the sound of her children's voices. Let us grasp her and never let go. The man will suddenly understand that the ache was for her. The emptiness they felt was for her. And they never knew, and therefore the tears. It is our privilege to tell them. And it is our obligation to write the story. Let us call her mother, goddess, first woman, eternal comforter. Our shouts will be joyful, and our songs will celebrate that the Queen of Heaven also is Queen of Earth, and the family is whole once more.
Thank you so much, Carolyn. Thank you so much, Carolyn.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for thanking me. I'm not seeing me, so thank you so much. It was just so great to be with all of you. Thank you. Blessed be and blessed to you.
Thank you. Thank you. All right, Stina, help us sing out those directions now, if you would.
Oh, what a treat. To earth in the north. Go if you must, stay if you will, within or without, we remain with you still. To water in the west. Go if you must, stay if you will, within or without, we remain with you still. To fire in the south. Go if you must, stay if you will, within or without, we remain with you still. And to air in the east. Go if you must, stay if you will, within or without, we remain with you still. And to spirit in the center. Go if you must, stay if you will, within or without, we remain with you still. Blessed be.
All right, we'll sing our final song and then open up the floor for fellowship. Mari, you have that slide for us? All right, here we go. The circle is open and unbroken. May the love of the goddess go in our hearts. Merry meet and merry part, and merry meet again. Blessed be, blessed be, blessed be.